Once you've added your tables to your web app, be that through importing or creating from scratch yourself, or even using the wizard as we did for the first one, you will then need to create some views. If you think of views as forms in normal access databases, then you understand the need for your views, because they are the interface between your web users and your data. So if we want to create some views, we need to firstly choose the table that we want to add the views to, and then either click the green plus here to create a view, or click the View Create button here. Either way, we'll be taken to the same dialog box, which is to add a new view. The view needs a name, so I'm going to call it Children. There are 4 view types. One is actually a blank, so that's not really a view type, it's just an empty screen, like an empty form. So we're left with 3. List details is the equivalent of a column form in Access. Datasheet is a datasheet view, so you see the data in the table. And then Summary shows you a minimal amount of information, but allows you to filter. Let's go with the first type, list details, based on the children, add new view. That view is then created and replicated to the web server. So every creation object you do always takes a little bit of time because there has to be an interaction between your machine and the web server. My view then appears, so my list view, and I could add another view, call it all children, and choose the datasheet option, add new view, and that appears. And then let's add the third type of view. Now notice that the name of the view appears as the heading across here. Let's go for a summary view, add new view. If I then do a save option, it will save all of those views to our custom web app. And I can then go round to the browser and refresh. And you can see all my tables are now here. The one I'm looking at goes blue. So if I come down to TBL Children, I can see my 3 views, Children, which allows me to add children in with their date of birth. Notice I get a calendar picker for their date of birth, very useful. And then save, adds that child to the list, which is visible in all children, where I get my datasheet view, which is also able to be used for adding data. Again with the data picker, if I want to go far back, which would be a lot of clicking. And then to save in the datasheet view is the same as saving in Access. Notice you get the pencil, same as you do in Access. And the minute you tab out of that row, the record is then saved. And then Children Summary shows me a summary view where I can pick the people from the list, my children in fact, and then it pulls the related data into the right-hand side. Now there's only the date of birth extra to the name because it's such a small table. But you could add views to any of your tables and they are then accessible by selecting the table and then selecting which of the views you wish to see. Now the views that you've created there are one of the 3 types, and you can to some degree change the design of them. If we go back to our custom web app, you'll notice in the middle of each of these views there is an edit option. So I choose the children one and edit. It then takes me into design view where I can potentially move things around a little, a bit like an access form in fact. So you can move the controls and the labels across. This left-hand side here acts as a filter, and I could choose what I would like to see in there. So if I choose child's name or child's date of birth or their ID, so I could have their ID in here and then a secondary option of their name. I can even add more controls to this little mini toolbar by clicking the plus. A new option appears, and then if I select the option, there's like a little data box which pops out. Control name, action bar button 1, new action, and a choice of pictures, depending on what the new action button wants to do. Let's go with forward mail. On click triggers what you want the button to do, and then there's lots of options here built in. Let's go for a message box. And the message box is going to say, you clicked a button. So I save my action button on click, close, brings me back to the button itself, and you can see it's gone green on the on click, so it has an action. Tooltip, click me. Control name is just the name of that object, so it's gone for action bar button 1, and then I close that. I then just save my changes by file and save. That change then gets written to the live server, so I go back to my web app and refresh into the children, and you can see the icon I've had, it appears there, and the new layout is in place. And if I then click my new button, you clicked a button. OK. And the tooltip, so when I hover, it says click me. So you have some control about changing the layout, controlling the buttons that you get in each of the 3 views that you can make use of. To summarize, we've added tables, but in order to use the data within those tables on your custom web app, you need views. So each of your tables would need at least one view adding to it so that people can see and use and manipulate the data. Without any views, then all they can see is the name of the table. They can select the table, but they get a message that just says no views present. So the views are vitally important. They are your window on the custom web app for people to access the data that's behind.